Feel like you've aged out of parenthood? Are you finally ready to be a mother, but the alarm on your biological clock has been going off for 15 years? The good news, life can change in an instant. Trust me, I should know. And remember, don't call me ma'am, call me mom. Hey everyone, welcome to Don't Call Me Ma'am. I'm Jodi Miller and Don't Call Me Ma'am. And don't call my next guest ma'am. You can call him sir, which I think is unfair that men get sir and women get ma'am. Horrible, horrible word. He is a comic. He is a producer. He is a writer. He's an awesome guy. He's a good friend of mine. And he's also a dad. And you know this series is all about parenthood. Start clapping right now. And by that, I mean pull over. Don't do it while you're driving. No accidents here. For Jason Collings. Hello. Yay! Oh my God. Okay, first of all, we've known each other how long? Really long time.
I'm about to hit 20 years
of comedy.
Stand up, and I met you right in the beginning.
I met you right in the beginning, so 20 years. I had already been out here, right, because I've been doing comedy about 26 years because I didn't have kids in my early 20s. And that's what we're talking about here because everybody knows I am a later in life mommy. And by that, by the way, I hate when everyone's like, oh, she's an older parent. She had her first child at 40. Shut the fuck up, okay? That's kind of when it's happening, okay? I was in my late 40s when I became a mom. So that's an older parent. Okay.
Also, 40s these days isn't what 40s was back in the day.
No, yes.
Like my grandparents were married at 16.
Jesus Christ.
Texas.
All right, well, there you go. I mean, okay, so there are a lot of pros and cons, obviously. Okay, so first of all, how old are your sons?
Jonathan just turned 30 in January, and James turned 35 in September.
He's a 35-year-old, and I have a 4-year-old, and we are the same age.
I feel like you did it right.
Well, no, that's what I wanted to talk about, because honestly, when I met you...
my kids were like, when we met, my kids were like 10 and
I do remember.
15 or
yes,
something.
I absolutely remember that. I remember specifically for some reason, like the Irvine Improv, and we talked a lot because at that time I was thinking, God, I should be thinking about having children. Like I remember my dad pushing me a lot, like when is that going to happen? And freezing your eggs was like new-ish, but very expensive. And it's not as expensive as it is now. So I didn't have that option. It didn't even seem like a feasible option. But
I never really froze my eggs.
You didn't?
No, it was
too
expensive.
It's so expensive for guys to freeze their eggs. But I remember though, meeting you and you know what I mean? You were like really, and also you're hilarious. And I remember you were like, you got into comedy a little bit later.
I didn't start stand-up till I was 35.
Yeah, which is a little bit later for...
Too late.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
It isn't though. Actually, I think your life experience, I tell that to the students that I teach or I privately coach, age in comedy actually serves you, gives you a lot more life experience.
You have things to talk about.
Things to talk about.
I didn't have to find my voice, as they say.
Yeah.
I had it because I was losing my voice because I was yelling at these goddamn kids all the time. But if we met in Irv, did I have one of my kids with me when we met? Because the guys, when they were like...
It was a Comedy Juice era, so we were there a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't think you had your kids, but I remember you talking about your kids on stage, and I remember thinking, oh my God, this is so funny. I should just pretend I have a kid. No, I'm just kidding. But I was like, this is so funny. I can't wait till one day I'll have a kid and talk about it.
Built-in material.
Yeah, you probably...
Constantly. Yeah, yes. It's insane. And at every age.
Right, at every age.
Because you have all the stories of the newborn, then you have all the stories of the toddler, then the fucking teenage years. That's just gold.
Oh, my God.
And then now I'm still talking about them, and they're in their 30s.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So, wait, what... I don't even know if I've ever asked you, why did you decide to get into stand-up at 35?
Well, I wanted to do it when I was younger.
Okay.
I've just been a huge fan of comedy all my life. When I was a kid, the big event at our house was when Carlin's new HBO special came on and all that. We always, and my brother and I found our parents. Remember, they used to call them party records back in the day. When we were way, 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 way too young to be listening to this, we found my mom and dad's Red Fox album.
Oh, my dad had that too.
I remember the shit he used to say.
Yeah.
And then we found Bill Cosby, and then we had my dad. They had Richard Pryor and all that. And then my brother and I, early early junior high, late elementary school, really had gotten into Eddie Murphy, Delirious, and then Raw. And I remember a high school date. We went to the movie theater to watch Eddie Murphy Raw.
Oh, wow.
I took a girl on a date, so I've always loved it. Then I had kids young, and my father was an entertainer. I don't know if you knew that, but
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my dad was a musician. He had a hit single in 1970.
Oh.
He ended up, and he was touring. He was a touring musician.
Wow.
And so he missed a lot of my, the things that that only happen once. First words, first steps, all that stuff. And I didn't know that because when I was 8, he quit the music industry. My mom gave him an ultimatum.
Right, yeah.
She said, you can be a rock star or you can be a parent, but you can't seem to figure out how to be both.
Right.
I'll give you the weekend to figure out which one you want to be. And he took the weekend, and thank God he chose me and David. So,
but he took the weekend.
Yeah,
guys,
took
the
the
whole
weekend. There was a lot to think about.
2 days,
Yeah.
guys. 2 days.
So he quit the music business when I was 8. And when I was 8, from 8 years old on, he was super dad. He was the best dad on the planet. I mean, he was the dad that all my friends were like, I wish that was my dad. You know? And so I don't have a memory of him not being there. Like, for example, one time I did a tour overseas for 6 weeks. I was gone.
Right.
And I asked my mom, I said, Mom, that's just crazy being away from the house this long. What was the longest Dad was ever gone?
Right.
She goes, 3 months.
Oh, my God.
Then I said, oh, really? When? She goes, day after you were born. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So he was gone.
And by the way,
lot.
he is a twin. He's an identical twin. So his mom had 2 newborns, and your dad was like, okay, bye.
Yeah, I have a twin brother. If you haven't seen my brother, he is very handsome. So my dad told me when I became a dad the first time, he said, don't miss anything. Because at the time I was trying to be in the music business too.
But you were super young.
Yeah, my brother and I had a record contract with a label. We were producing hip hop music.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that either.
And it wasn't paying anything.
Right.
You know. So when I was 21, we opened a family business, which was a martial arts school.
That's right.
And I did that because I put the dream on the shelf.
Yes.
To put a roof over the kids' head and food on the table.
So wait, you were a parent at 21? Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
I was a parent at 20.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Let's just, oh my God. All right. So that's what I wanted to talk about because when I was 20, first of all, I was in college, definitely blowing someone somewhere. I'm sure. That was most of 20 to 21. That was my blowjob era. But I'm definitely.
Is that the next Taylor Swift album?
Yeah, I think it might be the blowjob era.
Yeah.
Anyway, I could not even imagine being a parent at 20. Just even if I wasn't. I mean, my brain wasn't fully formed. I wasn't. You know what I mean? I don't even know who I was.
It wasn't planned.
Okay, so it wasn't planned,
None of it was
but
planned.
you were like, let's do this.
But I feel like having great parents
Right.
made me be like, I could be a great parent. You know what
That's
I mean?
amazing to hear. That's
So
actually
a lot of people that I knew growing up, they got some girl pregnant and they're like, they still,
Right.
they co-parent, but they're not. I was nuts about this girl.
Right.
So I was like, let's just
do it.
let's just do it. And when I was in my 20s, I was living life like I was in my 40s. I was coaching.
Yes.
I was coaching Little League,
Yes.
raising kids, having barbecue in the backyard. When a bunch of my friends were at college, going out partying and stuff. But
Were you jealous? How did that even feel?
I don't know if jealous is the word. Maybe FOMO. But my best friends that I grew up with.
Right.
Also had kids right around that same age.
Oh wow!
So
that probably helped.
2 of my really close friends, our kids are all around the same age.
Right. Okay.
So, but yeah.
Your brother as well.
Yeah, he's got
young.
2 grown daughters. One's 30, one's 28, I believe.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we were just being dads and running a business and coaching Little League when we were in our 20s. My wife and I, Elaine and I, were always the baby parents.
Right.
Elaine especially was always being mistaken as the older sister and not the mom. First time I ever heard my son swear in front of us.
Right.
We went to go pick him up from some school thing, and my wife had just gotten off of work, and she used to work at Victoria's Secret.
Okay.
Remember, used to wear the nice black suits, and she looked hot, right? She's at the bottom of the stairs looking up at the stairs, and James is coming down the stairs, and one of his friends goes, "Yo, James, introduce me to your sister." First time I ever heard, he goes, "That's my fucking mom." Yeah.
Well, I mean, using
I
the
was
right
like,
context, it's
good
all
kid,
good. Yeah.
kid,
That's,
yeah.
yeah.
So we were always the young parents, and it was,
You were the young parents.
and I feel like a lot of it was pretending to be parents because we were just kids.
That's what I mean.
And we're like, all right, now we're playing house and we're pretending, but then the pretend just becomes your reality.
It does. Although
Yeah.
I don't know if that changes as you get older, because I remember right when it was like must have been her first birthday, because of course everybody loves it. Like, how is it? Do you love it? Do you love being a mom?
Are you loving it?
Are you loving it? Yeah.
Isn't
Are
it the
you just
best?
loving it?
Are you in heaven?
Are you just in
no.
heaven? Are you just like, yeah, when people are like, do you just love being a mom? I'm like, no, I love her.
Yeah.
But love being a mom, I mean, sometimes who doesn't, I mean,
Yeah.
ugh. The people that are like, I was born to do this. This is my like sole purpose. I'm like, ugh, gross. But
Sure it was.
I honestly felt like right when she hit 1, I still just didn't feel like a mom. I felt like a babysitter who had just stayed way past her shift. That's what I felt like. I'm like, when are the real parents coming?
Yeah, I'm the cleaning lady.
Yes, seriously. Why did you
Yeah.
why did you put trust in me to like raise this child? I still have days where I'm like, this is my daughter. Like forever.
Yeah.
It's just a very strange concept.
Doesn't change. The other day, 2 days ago, I was with my son and I was taking him somewhere. He's really into cycling, I guess was and we went to go get a part or whatever for his bike. And I was watching him walk out of the car and I'm like, just looking at this grown man with a beard. And I'm like, shit, that's my son.
That's your son.
That's my son.
You guys probably look close in age. I mean, 35. It's not
crazy.
It's not that. It's not that different.
And they're both just grown ass men. It's a trip. And they could both kick the shit out of me. I know they can.
Yes. I mean, that's like one of my favorite jokes of yours. And I didn't really, and by the way, I wasn't a parent at the time, but it was like my favorite joke. And now I feel it all the time. When you were walking your kid into school, tell me the joke again. Did you say I will end you?
Oh yeah.
Exactly. What did
I will crush you. You never thought you'd say that to a child. I will crush you into dust and scare the shit out of him. You love this kid so much, but I will rip you limb from limb. Yeah, they make you feel like that.
They make you feel like that. I have literally looked at her and I'm like, I will throw you out a window.
I've never said this more than ever. I say this more as a parent than before I was a parent. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Or what the hell are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
And then I think, oh, I was that to my dad.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
That's another thing I think about a lot. Because my dad, I have a bit where I said, my dad used to just walk into the room and just randomly say, I guess I can't have nice things, and then leave. And I'm like, what a dick. And then these words came out of my mouth the other day. Am I the only one that knows how to reload a dishwasher? And I'm like, whoa. And you can't have nice things. You know.
I know. You can't. You can't have nice things. I mean, that's also a different experience. So when you're in your 20s raising a kid, you guys probably didn't have a lot of money, I'm assuming.
No.
You're starting out, you're starting a business. You probably didn't have a lot of nice things. When I was in my 20s, I didn't even know to have nice things. Everything was like mismatched, secondhand, whatever somebody gave you. Now, again, I've been alone a very long time. I bought a house. I furnished that house with really nice things.
Oops.
And then I brought a newborn home. It's like I bought a Crate and Barrel chair home and then a newborn.
Right.
I was like,
used to-
ooh.
I would say I would go to my friend's house that didn't have kids just to see what a clean house looked like. I'd walk in and go, this place smells amazing. How
Smells
do you
really
do
good. How do you do
You
that?
keep furniture in the middle of the room because it's another thing.
Oh my God, that's
Everything
true.
against the wall.
Yep.
We sit around the perimeter. They fuck up in the middle, and we hope they don't die. That's parenting.
But I mean, I have to imagine, and I talked about this with one of my guests, just about the postpartum of it all. And for men and women, I know we just think that women get postpartum, but men definitely go through a depression. It's really just the loss of it's not just, but for me, it was the death of my old life. Yeah. I mean, I remember I was doing a Tammy Jo show. It was during the pandemic. She was only a month old, and I went and I did a show. And it was like the parking lot show at the Magic Castle where everybody was in their cars because it was during COVID. But I had done that, you know what I mean, a lot before I became a mom. So she was a month old, and I was just on stage talking a lot about her. I had all this new stuff that I was going to try out, but I was in newborn hell, so my brain wasn't operating. And I was having like an out of body experience. It was the worst set I mean, I'm sure for everybody else it was fine, but for me it was like, felt like work.
It was in a parking lot.
It was in a parking lot, but I also just was like I wasn't there. My brain was not there. And I left. I saw Liza on the way out. She's like, hey, I'm like, I gotta go. And I got in my car and I just cried. I sobbed all the way home because I was like, oh, who I was before is gone. Just like completely gone. That person no longer exists. I don't know who this person's going to be. What am I talking about on stage? What am I even feeling on stage? It was a realization very similar to when my mom died of like, your life has changed forever. Yeah. Now for me, I had, known this person, this version of me for 40 plus years. You were 20. So you just had a childhood, a very short, young adult, very short. Yeah. Like you just had left your teen years and now you're dad.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. I still was trying to be the young guy for a while.
Okay.
I was going out. I was getting side jobs that just happened to be, I promote for this nightclub.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I hire the go-go dancers. You know what I mean?
That's my job, guys.
Got to do it. But, you just.
But you can't wake up hungover with a child.
No.
I would have,
And no matter how late you were out, your ass is up in the morning.
They don't care. No. Everybody's like, she sleeps through the night. I'm like, yeah, but she still wakes up at 6 a.m.
It wasn't until very recent that I stopped just automatically waking up at 7 o'clock, no matter what.
Oh my God.
I would just wake up at 7 o'clock because I was so used to that. Because then they were playing sports. Because then you think you get the weekend off. Oh, no, you don't. Because they got to be at football practice, baseball practice, wrestling, and all that. And so you just don't get any breaks. So sometimes, and again, just a kid learning.
Yeah, you're
still
also
learning
growing.
life.
Yes. Oh my God. Again, 20.
Yeah. My wife and I are nowhere near the same people we were when we met.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that.
We grew together and all that, and we ended up at like. But the moms, though, I mean, the moms don't get enough credit, in my opinion, sometimes.
Did you hear that? Every mom out there, listen to this.
I would watch my wife mom, and then it made me appreciate my mom way more. And to the point where when my kids kind of got into their teenage years, there was a few times when I wanted to beat them up because they were smart mouthing their mom.
Right.
I'll never forget, we're sitting at the table. We're at dinner table. Jonathan, my youngest, was probably like 7 or 8 or something. And something happened at the dinner table, and he went, great job, Mom. Ooh. And I literally just went, poom, and put his face in his mashed potatoes. Just face planted him in his mashed potatoes. He gets up like this. But I go, don't ever talk to your mother like that again.
And eat those potatoes.
Yeah.
My God.
And finish those potatoes, yeah.
Finish those potatoes. It's so funny. The first time Mackenzie, this was like a year and a half ago, so she was not even 3. Maybe she was just 3. She clearly got this from another kid at school.
Oh, that's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, when they come home and they say things or do things. And I said, pick up that toy. And she went, pfft. And the Jersey in me I go, what was that? And then she did it again because she got a reaction. So she went, I go, get over here. Like, that was it. I was like, absolutely not. Time out for you. She's like, I don't even know what I did. But I was like, that is not okay.
My mom wasn't a hitter.
Right.
But one time.
One time.
I'm sitting in the back of she had the back of the car open, like a hatchback or whatever. And I'm sitting in it. And she's telling me something that you shouldn't do. And I remember I saw a kid do this on a television commercial. And I just went like this and went, And I turned my head, and she smacked it right back over. And I never did that again.
That was it.
Yeah,
well, okay, now that brings up a good point. Okay, so when you were raising your kids, you did not have any of the types of parenting that we have now, which are like helicopter parenting, lighthouse parenting.
What's this new thing, gentle parenting?
Gentle parenting. I talk about it too. Yes,
that's child abuse. That's child abuse.
Yeah, it is. Please explain to. I mean, by the way, I don't gentle parent. I don't abuse my child, but gentle parenting is bullshit. No. That's
negotiating with a child is incredibly ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. You cannot do it. I mean, you end up doing
Tommy,
it. Tommy,
what did we talk about?
Absolutely not.
Tommy's 2, doesn't remember what he had for fucking breakfast.
Absolutely. So
all of a sudden we're like,
yeah, gentle parent. What kind of? I mean, were you guys just like figure it out parents?
Because I was still a kid.
Yeah.
I copied my dad.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
And I parented the way my dad parented, and my dad was not an abusive guy physically at all. I mean,
Just verbally.
just verbally. But no, he was very much. He was the dad that sometimes I'd be like, just hit me. I'd rather have the spanking than the lecture, because the lecture just made you feel like such a horrible person.
Was he like, I'm disappointed in you?
Yeah, but he was also tough. It wasn't like, I'm disappointed in you. He would go like, he'd be like, what is that? What are you thinking? What did you think was going to happen?
Okay.
You know, what's the lesson here?
Right.
You know, we got hit one. See, I was a bad kid at one point. So my brother and I, we lived in this apartment complex in Long Beach, California that at the time, but they were still allowed to, what's the word? You're not allowed to live here if you're this, I can't remember the fucking word, but it was the only apartment complex in Long Beach that allowed children.
Oh, okay.
That we could afford.
All right.
You know.
Yeah.
And I think I almost got us evicted out of that place like 9 times. Like one time I climbed a tree and had these hard berries, and when the apartment manager walked by, I just started throwing them at her, kind of a thing. Oh God. And we almost got ourselves, evicted.
Right.
Because of my behavior. So what my dad did is he took an old tennis shoe, ripped the sole off of it, put duct tape around the heel for a handle, and this is what you get if you F up again.
Did you ever get that?
Once. And I never ever got it again.
Never got it again.
Another thing that I did was I found the shoe in his room when he was because my dad for a long time was gone. He was asleep during the day and gone at night because he was a musician. But then I went in and found the shoe and I took it and I buried it.
Yeah, you buried it. You hide
somewhere, and he couldn't find it. But still, I never never got to that point again until one time I was I was 17 and I thought I was pretty tough, and I smarted-mouthed my dad, and he didn't yell and he wasn't a yeller or any of that stuff. But we're having this argument where we're going back and forth.
Right.
And at this time, we owned a business together. And I was always right, and he was always right.
Of course.
And I said something in the argument that just shut it. He just went quiet, took 2 steps towards me, and put his finger on my chest and said, "Do you want to fight me?"
Oh, my God. Your dad said that?
And I went, and there was a minute where I thought I could. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, absolutely not. I don't want to ever fight you, you know. And
did you ever say that to either of your sons?
Never had to.
You never had to?
Never had to.
They always respected you.
Yeah. I don't know if respect is the word.
So let me ask you now.
Because I fucked up a lot as a parent because I was young.
Of course.
I did things wrong, and I did, I made my kids angry at me for a bunch of stuff. And
right, but you're the parent, so it's different when you fuck up in that way. You know what I mean? I'm definitely going to fuck up, and I have already with my daughter, and I'm sure I'll fuck up many times.
I've never been in a situation with my boys where there was like this physical ever.
That's great.
But also they're both very highly trained martial artists as well.
Yeah, so.
I started training both of my kids when they were 3.
Well, that's your fault then.
I know.
Yeah.
I have a bit about it on stage. I say, yeah, I say I got in a fight with my son, not a physical fight, because he could kick my ass. Then I say, it's really cute to put your kids in martial arts, isn't it?
Right.
What if they fucking stick with it?
Oh my God, yeah, that's so funny. And they're really tall. Your kids are tall and big. Yeah. I would probably date your 35-year-old, FYI. But it's a different podcast. Okay, guys, this is the matchmaking portion of the show. So let me ask you a question. Let's say, oops, you're a dad again. Let's just say you had a baby right now. Like, what would you do different?
I'd be such a mellow father.
Mellow, yeah. I feel like
I was an intense dad at some points. I got mad at them and angry at them.
You're 20s, you know what I mean? Yeah. You're still regulating your own
things. I'm angry about in my own life was getting taken out on them if they screwed up. Like the yelling was a little more than it had to be sometimes because I was just a kid. But today I would just be the most chill dad. That
has to be difficult. I mean, I can say for me, if I had had a child when I was younger, when I was in between my many, many jobs, I probably would not have stuck with stand-up because when you start with stand-up, I mean, so you started when they were like 10 and 16, right? And that, so, I mean...
Which was still too early. I waited because my dad said, don't miss anything. I thought, okay, he's 11 or 10 now and James is 15. I could do it now.
Okay.
And it was still too early because one time when my youngest was like 19, we got into it and got into an argument because he was acting out. And he said, you were always gone. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see it that way. I was like, no, I wasn't. But I was gone a lot.
Were you gone? You were gone a lot, like on weekends?
Well, no, just
at night.
And then road gigs and that, and it was.
Yeah, because when you're starting out in stand-up, for people that don't know, you take everything. You take everything that's offered to you, whether it's paying or not. You need the experience, you need the exposure, you need the connections. So you're on the road. Somebody, asked me just to do like a 2-nighter somewhere recently, and I have to I'm like, I don't think I can. It's too much work to get. I'm not going to bring her and then try to find a sitter there or like leave her there. And now she's getting to an age where she is aware already.
And kids remember everything.
Yeah.
Whether you think, oh, they're just a kid, they're not.
Right.
No, they remember everything.
Right.
I didn't realize this until my son pointed it out when he was older. Apparently, I was on the phone too much at his baseball games.
No.
That kind of thing. I don't remember that. I remember being there at the game and taking him to practice, but he remembers.
He remembers. That's really
looking
important.
over and I'm on the phone.
That's really, my daughter already at a very young age, which is kind of heartbreaking. I'd probably like 2. She'd take my phone before she could say no phone.
Right.
She just knew that I wasn't paying attention to her and I was on it, on the phone or, texting. She would just take it out of my hands all the time. And that's like a young child. It's like, pay attention to me.
Neither one of my kids are phone kids. Neither one of them are social media kids. They don't.
Well, that was another thing though, too. You actually, when you were raising them though, social media, technology, it wasn't, you know what I mean? So you were very lucky. Like, how did you entertain them?
The after school sports, and you just that's the thing. You got to see a lot of parents today are throwing the device in the kid's face.
Yeah.
We didn't have that.
You didn't have it.
They had favorite TV shows that they liked, but so you had to, let's get you entertained, So my kids, I tried to keep them busy. I mean, James was football and basketball.
Right.
Jonathan was baseball and wrestling.
Right.
Jonathan, and you learn shit later, I'm telling you. I thought he loved it.
He didn't.
He did it because I wanted him to do it. He hated it. He told me the other day, he goes, I fucking hated it. I was like, what? So you're like, did I do anything right?
I mean, you obviously did.
Right. The only thing I could say I was never an abusive father. Like I never physically or mentally or called them names or anything like that.
Which is good.
I always took their feelings into consideration, like, that, because my dad was old school.
Right.
He teased us a lot.
Oh, he did.
And my brother and I kind of started realizing that in therapy,
Yeah, you sort of, you internalize it.
Why am I so afraid to do the wrong thing? Or why am I so, afraid to perform? Like, it was like this whole thing. And then I remember, my dad, and not in a malicious, mean way.
No.
But he was a teaser.
My dad too.
And I was like, that affects you a little bit.
Yeah.
But, then there's a classic overcorrection that these parents are doing today where they're like, oh, my God, I was wondering. My son is the best one in your karate class. And I'm like, your son's licking the mirror. Like, what are you talking about? But these parents, it's just like, you're the best. I talk about it on stage that, it's our fault. Generation X, see, you're parenting at a different time. See, Gen X, we were soft parents. Not all of us.
Yes, that's what it comes down to. All of the participation trophies and all of that. That is our generation.
We invented the participation trophy, and it's now, that's why Gen Z, I read a thing the other day that Gen Z is, at an alarming rate, demanding raises and promotions within the first 6 months of a job.
Yes, I know.
That's the participation trophy mentality. I'm here. Where's my trophy? I won. Where's my prize?
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's just like, that was us.
I'm not raising. It's interesting though, because a lot of my friends, they didn't raise their kids that way. So I think it's split. I think it's split. The Gen X generation is split. It's Gen X millennials that are a part of that participation trophy generation. It's like half and half. I think
gentle parenting. Geez.
I mean, that's definitely not me and my friends. Even if I had kids earlier, I wouldn't have gone that way. Just because I loved the competition element of things. I loved being.
Also, there's a world that they're going to eventually be in.
Exactly. You have to teach them to go out there and deal with different personalities, different types of people. And just from seeing work ethic, like the work ethic of like younger comics or younger writers or anyone, you know what I mean? You're like, oh my God.
Does that exist?
It does. I have a lot of friends that are younger that have a great work ethic and work really hard. But and then I have other people that I'm like, oh my God, who raised you?
A buddy of mine was at an open mic recently, this kid that I'm helping out, and he works with me and stuff, and he's like, you're not going to believe what this guy said at the open mic. I go, what do you say? He goes, in a regular conversation, he goes, dude, I've been doing this for 18 months. When am I going to pop? I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. See, that's why I put my kids in martial arts. There's no participation trophy. If you go to the tournament, if you lose the match, you don't get the trophy.
It's so funny.
And it's a learning
I
experience.
want my daughter to get into martial arts
Yeah.
for the discipline of it all. But I mean, just organized sports in general, anything that keeps her active and busy. It's such a, here's the thing. I think there are pros and cons to having kids later in life compared to earlier in life. Like you probably had, even though I still have a lot of energy, you probably had way more energy in your 20s. You could stay up all night and still function the next day.
See, that's why when you ask the question, if you had a kid today, I think this. If I had a kid today, when that child is only 10 years old, I will be 64.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yes, but remember, just the same way you said 40 isn't what it used to be.
Right.
Neither is 60 what it used to be.
Right.
It's just because... Yes, everything in our environment is killing us, but it's also keeping us alive. We're more conscious of our health, staying active. You know what we need to do: supplements or working out, strength training. We're staying younger, longer. Social media, keeping up. So I think about that too, and it's funny. I talked to Kevin Nealon when my daughter was. It wasn't. I don't know if it was the show that I left crying, but it was right around there. I mentioned, it must have been a little bit later because I was about to turn 50. And I said, I'm almost 50 years older than my daughter. And he was like, I had my son, I became a parent at 56.
Amazing.
Yeah.
See, I look at my children, people, and they are both older than I was when I had them.
Yes. And they have no plans of having kids anytime soon.
I hope not, because they need to be able to take care of themselves first.
That's true. I mean, but you know what? I mean, when you had that kid, were you like, I can take care of this? Were you financially like, or were you just like, oh, you had a business
I had a business. I was working. Before we had the business, I had a job at the company that my dad worked at.
Okay.
And
so you had income coming in.
Yeah, I had income coming in. I remember I had an argument once with one of my kids. They're like, you don't get it. I go, I don't get it. You're right, I don't get it. Because when I was your age, I had a mortgage and a job, and I had you two.
Right.
And I made it work, and my wife and I made it work. It's a team effort. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
She's incredible. If it wasn't for her, I'd be dead. Yeah.
But I mean, if either one of your kids, obviously were like, I'm going to be a dad, they would figure it out. You figure it out.
Yeah. And it's funny because my wife isn't, but I would love, and I'm ready, I would love to be a grandfather.
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
because
she's
it's all
like,
the benefits of having
not.
that tiny little kid, and then you get to send him home. I get it now.
Right.
I would love to send my daughter home to a different home.
And and the thing is too that I always keep reminding myself, shit is so different these days. Like my oldest son lives at my house.
So he still lives with you.
He moved out. He had a career, did a whole thing. He was in the vaping industry, so that got all the bad press, put him out of business, and he moved back. He was out of state doing this.
Oh wow.
Moved back home, and then when he's home, all of a sudden the cost of living here is through the roof.
Yeah.
My wife and I have a house that we bought in 2010.
Right.
Our mortgage is less than their rent would be if they moved out.
My God. So are both of your sons living with you?
No, we have another house in LA
that
my youngest lives at.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, but it's my house. It's our house. But it's like, I was looking at the rent, because we're in LA.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So I can't get too upset about them still being at home.
Right.
They're working.
They're working, and also he's an adult. I mean, he's basically a roommate.
Yeah, and he's pretty much invisible.
Right.
He does his own thing, and he's not a. If he were a roommate, he's not a shitty one. He doesn't leave messes. He's very clean. He does a lot of stuff. Helps. I mean, we did some work on the roof together the other day.
I mean, that's the thing. That's what I was going to say. You guys have a incredible relationship, and the fact is you will have a longer relationship as adults than you did when he was a child. Yeah. That's we do with our parents. I, on the other hand, I mean, I will, but not by a lot, have a longer relationship. I mean, it really depends how long I live, but because I'm older.
You're not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere for a really long time, guys. But I mean, I definitely think about that when she graduates college. I'm going to be like 70. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's a scary realization. And when people I want her to move home with me so she can take care of me. Like that's my plan. But I mean, you have this amazing relationship with them.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's only going to continue to get better and better as I get older. And I think about that with her, like, again, you know what I mean? I don't know how long as when she's an adult that I'll have with her.
Yeah. And I did the empty nest thing. That's the thing when both my kids at one point were gone.
How did that
My
feel?
wife, it was one for James, it was a little harder because he was far. He was in Arkansas.
Okay.
Jonathan decided he was going to be a cool LA kid, and he moved into a loft in downtown LA.
Right.
So he was close
Right.
enough, and I went up there and visited him a few times. But it was crazy. We had extra rooms at the house, and I had an office for a minute. It was pretty cool. And then,
Do you miss that time when they were like kids, like
Yeah.
running around, like the noise and the
you know what
chaos and the commotion?
here's when I think about that. Every Christmas,
Yeah.
there's no more Santa Claus came.
There's no more
or-
Christmas morning.
There really isn't. It's at all. And we have a tradition that we do. We get up in the morning and we go to my mom's for breakfast,
Right.
and then we go to her side of the family. But it's not like that excited waking us up. That whole thing of
Right.
that. One thing I could say is I loved being a parent. Like I wasn't like, oh, this is gonna. I was like,
Right.
I'm doing all of it. I'm coaching the teams. Doing the Christmas stuff, and I did really, really enjoy that. I miss that a lot.
Right.
But then I think about, I still got them. They're still here because I got friends who lost their kids, and that I couldn't even imagine.
I can't either.
And it's just, they're here. And they don't hate me.
Right. Well, I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, they don't hate me. I annoy the shit out of them
Right.
without even trying. Oh my God, my youngest at 30 is still just like, oh, geez, Dad.
That's never going to change because that's how we
Hates
are
the
with
way
our
I
parents.
drive. Hates when I can't hear him.
Well,
Yeah. If he has to repeat a question, forget about it. I'm an idiot.
I mean,
Yeah.
I actually feel that's the thing. That is something also. You were like, you know what I mean? You were in your prime years while you were raising
Yeah.
your kids. Sometimes I can't even like speak to my daughter because I can't think of the word I'm trying to say because I'm like going through menopause and I'm like, what am I even trying to say to you? Like, how am I supposed to teach this child anything? And I can't remember anything. I'm always going to the bathroom. Like, these are the memories that my daughter's going to have of me. Like, I'm always going to the bathroom. I'm always saying I'm tired. I can't like think of the word I'm trying to say. She's going to be like, what does this mean? I'll be like, I don't know.
Isn't it? I'm losing words.
Yes,
I don't know. Am I going crazy?
No, it comes with age.
Like earlier when I was trying to say the thing, I was like, the word for the
Yeah,
thing.
because our brain
Discrimination.
boom,
found it.
It eventually comes back.
Yeah.
It's because your brain, it's like we have so much in there. That's why our kids, I look at her, she's 4. She can remember everything.
Yeah,
I mean, she
because it's
can't
only
remember
4
what she
things.
does during the day. Yeah, exactly. But she it's so funny. I like put grouted my bathroom. Guys, I'm amazing.
Did you do it yourself?
And yeah. Anyway.
Not mad at that.
I know. Whatever. She came home, though, and she knew. She knew that it looked clean. She goes, well, you got a new floor. I'm like, well, no, it looks kind of new, but thanks. Like, how does, like, they know, like, when you move something, this used to be here. It's
Yep.
crazy because they have all that room in there. It's like a, filing cabinet that has so much. We are at capacity.
Yeah.
With stand up, with life, we're done. I'd like to, like, empty some of those files.
That's why when
delete 'em.
Jonathan or James gives me these certain memories of when they were little, and I didn't see it that way, I believe them before me.
Right, of course.
I'm like, you guys are probably spot on, and I'm still losing brain cells
I'm
or whatever.
really
it is.
trying to and I'm glad now because again, when you were raising your kids, you didn't have, camera phones.
None
you
of
didn't
that.
have all the technology. Like, it's so incredible that she can stay connected with the grandparents, through FaceTime, so she can see them when they're not visiting. And I can make so many videos of her with them. Like, I have memories of my grandparents, but not a lot in my head. I see some pictures, but she'll have videos and videos and videos and videos and,
Right.
Pictures and pictures and pictures. It's like, you have to really think back to those memories. Like, they're so fresh. They're like burned into my head, especially the newborn years. Like, it's
Crazy.
It's definitely different. I'm glad I did it at this age. I would have maybe a little earlier in my 40s, just so that we have more time together as adults.
Got
you know
it.
what I mean? Maybe that's
How old is
one
she?
regret. She's only 4.
Oh, wow.
4. She just turned
cute.
4. Yeah, it's really cute and really, really hard.
Yeah.
4 is tough, and I have a girl. It's totally different.
Now imagine 2
No, I
at
can't.
the same age. My mom. I look at my mom. I'm like, because I'm dealing with Jonathan and James, but they're 5.5 years apart.
Right.
So sometimes James can help me.
Right.
This is when they were little.
Yes.
And I'm like,
Yeah, there were two of you.
two of us, and my dad was gone.
Oh my God, I can't imagine that.
You know?
I mean, I'm sure once you got to a certain age, you guys were playing together, and that's really helpful.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine. I mean,
Oh, David and I were always close. I've built in best friend, but I mean, we stayed at my grandparents' houses a lot.
Yeah.
And aunts and stuff. So it was.
I see. I don't have that. That's another bad thing about having kids when you're older. My mom has passed.
Yeah.
And I'm also single, so there aren't grandparents on the other side. And my dad and stepmom don't live here. So it's
Right.
really hard. I never get any time off.
Oh, it's nuts.
Never. Like I did New Year's out of town for the first time since becoming a mom, and just getting on a plane by myself. I'm like, this is amazing.
Right?
Oh my
You're
God.
not like, I miss her so much.
Oh no, not even a little, by the way.
Peace,
I was
I'm
like,
out.
bye-bye.
Yeah.
Like, on the plane, just
Oh,
eating
man.
snacks, getting
Oh,
into the
yeah.
hotel room. I didn't have to do any. I was just like, I didn't even care if there was a show or not. If they told me that the club closed down on New Year's, I would have been like, I don't care. Like, I'm not with my daughter right now.
I'm in a hotel room.
I'm in a hotel
I remember
room
the first
by
time I
myself.
did the road like that, and I was like, oh, this is gonna. And then I got to the hotel, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Right.
This is great, and it's long enough
It's just long enough. It's just two
to
nights.
not miss them too much.
Nights.
Yeah,
That was it. Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Of course.
On the show. Please tell everyone about both of your specials.
I got an hour on YouTube. It was on Amazon, and I moved it over to YouTube because it was just getting way more views that way. It's called "It's Not Me, It's You."
Love it.
Shot it in Nashville. It was great. And then I have one coming out. It's out right. When is this going to air?
It'll be out right now.
It's out. It's a 15-minute special.
15 minutes.
It's called Jason Collings Nothing Special.
And it was
Check it
shot at the Comedy Store.
Shot at the Comedy Store.
Which you and I call home.
That's the home. That's
That
home.
is
That's
our
home base.
It is our home base.
love
I'm going to
it.
have all the info below on my page, on all of the pages that you can find. Yeah, let me say that again. I'm going to have all of Jason's info on my page, on his page, link to his page. Please subscribe and like.
Yes.
And thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Jodi Miller, and this is Don't Call Me Ma'am, but you can call me Mom. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Don't Call Me Ma'am. Don't forget to subscribe and like so you never miss an episode. See you next time.